Hey, what is up, Fishaholics? And today I'm here at this small little pond right before dark, and I'm going to try and catch some largemouth bass. And right now I have tied on a Riots Bait Jig tipped with an Uncle Josh pork frog, basically a jig and pig. And that is one of my favorite big bass baits and summer baits to use to try and catch big largemouth bass. And surprisingly, this small little pond here right behind me has some big bass in it. And in the pre-spawn and spawning period, I actually came to this pond and scouted it out and saw some 3-4 pounders in it. So hopefully I can have some luck and catch, a few 3-4 pounders. And I'll probably fish in the dark and see what happens. But let's catch some fish. Let's try flipping under this tree here. This looks like a good spot. A lot of sticks laying in the water. If there's a big bass, he's going to be right underneath here. Not that deep under there. Real shallow. But there might be a big lunker sitting under there in some shallow water looking for a gill. A lot of white perch in this little pond also. If I was a big bass, I'd probably want to eat a bluegill or a big white perch for dinner. There he is, good bass. Good bass right there, guys. Oh, 15 pound, just lift him right up. On that Riots Bait Jig. Not a bad fish at all. Easy, probably 2 pounds, I'm gonna say. He's skinny, real skinny fish. Nice, beautiful bass. Right before dark on that Riots Bait Jig. There he goes, back in the water. I would get a little bit closer to the water to release that fish, but this entire bush here, all these bushes, is infested with ticks, and Lyme disease is not on my checklist. Alright guys, so the earlier part of this video and that one largemouth bass that you saw me catch was actually yesterday evening, and the following day now I'm here back at the same small little pond, but I made a small little modification to my jig and pig here, this Riots Baits Instigator Jig, and that is basically add a little tiny Northland Tackle buckshot rattle to the back of it. And that's going to help add some extra vibration in the water and help these largemouth bass in this discolored water find this little jig. The water visibility in this little pond here is only 5 inches to maybe 10 inches on a clear day, and now I have low light conditions, so sometimes an extra little bit of vibration in the water is going to help me get more bites. Let's see what happens. All right, let's catch some more fish. Right along this bank here looks pretty good. Look at that bass right there in front of me hit it. Did you see that? Oh my gosh. 2 pounder easily right here in front of me. I literally had 2 feet of line out and I saw this bass chase it, and I kind of just dropped it down, maybe a couple inches, and this guy nailed it. That's why he's shaking so much, because he didn't even really fight. So far it seems like the rattles are helping. That was only on my second cast, and I caught a bass. Basically was just swimming along the shoreline. He followed it in right here, dropped it down, bam, he was on. Right out here in front of this bush looks pretty good. Bass love overhanging bushes or overhanging trees. And it's right along the bank where most bass are going to be moving towards in the evening, like it is right now. Not a bite, not a follow, nothing. I guarantee you there's a bass out in front of this bush here. There he is. Oh, I had him right out in front of this bush here. He was swimming with it. I dropped it down to the bottom, kind of just let it sit there, and before I knew it, my line was ripping out to the side. Let's see if there's another bass there. I'm going to drop it down to the bottom. I was right though, there was a bass here. Alright guys, so after I lost my second bass of the evening right here next to this bush, I worked my way around the entire pond here along the road and back, and I didn't get one bite, which is really surprising because right now the fish should be turning on and they should be moving shallow looking for something to eat, and for whatever reason I couldn't get any more bites. So now I'm here back at the same spot where I lost that second bass of the evening, and this is a really key location for this small little pond because you have an overhanging bush, and the small little forage bait fish love to hide out under the overhanging tree because they wait for bugs that are walking on the leaves to fall in the water, and then they come up and they eat the bugs, and therefore you're going to have a higher concentration of forage or bait fish here underneath this tree or underneath this bush, and that's going to draw more bass. So even though I lost that one bass that was here, I guarantee you there's another bass that's cruising along the bank here near this overhanging bush. I guarantee you. I'm losing daylight fast, but hopefully I can catch one more bass or get one more bite. Oh, got him, guys. Got that last bass that I was looking for. Man, this fish chomped it. Not a monster, but definitely a bigger than average fish out of this small little pond, and this fish surprised the heck out of me so much. I set the hook on this little bass, pretty much yanking him out of the water because I'm using some pretty heavy line, but this is a nice little bass, and at least I was able to get, a third bite this evening. And let me put him back in the water. But definitely adding some rattles to the back of this instigator jig helped me get a few more bites this evening rather than yesterday where I only had one bite without the rattles. And I really had to work for my fish today, even though I had 2 bites right away, then worked my way around this entire little pond with very little success. And then I came back here to the same bank where I caught one bass down in the left corner, and then one bass I had on in front of this bush, and then I worked my way back midway down this bank, and I was swimming this instigator jig right along these rocks here along the bank in front of me, and that bass just reacted to this instigator jig and nailed it. But anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this short little pond bassing video using a jig and pig to try and catch some bass, and showing a little modification that can sometimes help you get a few more bites. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to look in the description below for any more information about this video and the tackle that I was using. And if you have any questions, just post a comment in the comment section below and I'll be sure to get back to you. And as always, never forget, live to fish, fish to live, guys. Tight lines.